My grandfather would be so happy and so proud if he could see how many of his family members are living here in Africa. There are 21 of us here that we moved here to Africa, and you know, if he knew that some of our closest friends came to visit here. My grandfather's best friend, his couple of his children, his two sons and his daughter, which is my childhood best friend, Salwa. Her name is Salwa, and she's my baby Salwa's namesake. And it's a really special time. My friend Salwa, her oldest brother, was named after my grandfather. His name is Habib. He was named after my grandfather. So we have some really, really close, special friends here in Gambia visiting, you know, for a couple of days. So we lost so many people all within 1 year's time. You know, after my grandfather passed away, my grandfather, his best friend's wife passed away, which is Habib's mother. You know, she passed away, and my grandmother's best friend, you know, before I don't even know how many years they were friends, like before I was even born. You know, she passed away, and these were just all people, you know, when you're young, you just expect people, it's like you expect them to live forever. When there are people that are really close to you, people that are special to you, you know, you just don't ever imagine them leaving. Even when you have elderly family members, you know, you just don't imagine them leaving. So we lost some really, really close people in our family, you know, all within a year's time. And they were just people that we always imagined would be part of the community. We always imagined would just be here and be in our family. And for my grandfather, although he was terminally ill, and we knew with the diagnosis that he would be passing away, it was like, with every day, I just never expected the day to come. It's hard to explain. January 2021. My grandfather passed away at 68 years old. It was his dream to be buried in African soil. So he moved to Gambia knowing he was terminally ill, and he was there in Gambia for 2 short months before he passed away. Today, I'll be going with my family to make prayer in the masjid in Talingden, in Gambia, that held his janazah. I was sitting talking with my grandfather before he passed away and before he made hijrah to Gambia. And I was expressing to him that he's done so much for me and my children all of my life, you know, even in adulthood, after I was already married and had my children. He did so much helping me raise the children. I can't even like put into words how much he's been there just for me and my family on every level. And so I said to him, there's nothing that, you know, I can do to repay you for everything that you've done for our family. There's nothing that I can do. Anything I do, it will never amount to anything close to what, you know, you've done for my family. So my grandfather, he said, there is one thing that you can do that would repay me for anything that you feel like you need to repay me for. But he said, you won't want to do it. I know you won't want to do it. I said to my grandfather,
I would do anything if I knew that it would come even close to repaying you for everything that you've done for me all of my life. My grandfather said, if your husband will allow you to, take all of your children and your whole family and leave from America, move from America and move to Africa so you can raise your children in Africa, so that you can focus on raising your children as good Muslims and give them a chance. He said, if they move back later on in life on their own, at least you will have given them the opportunity. He said, pick any country in Africa and move with your children. I said, but Grampy, how can I just take all my children and leave America and move to Africa? I've never even been to Africa before. I don't know what's there. How do I know that that's the best decision for my family? How can I even make that move? I have so many children. At the time I had 7 children. Alhamdulillah, I have 8 children now. I said, Grampy, please, I'll do anything but that. There has to be something else I can do. And my grandfather reassured me that there was nothing else that I could do to repay him. So I said, how? How do I move my family? How do I move my whole family from America and move to Africa? And my grandfather said, well, first you have to get on the computer and find plane tickets. My grandfather was so funny. And his answers to life were so simple. It was make a decision and then work towards your goal to accomplish whatever decision you make. My grandfather would say, the main problem with the Muslims is that we're always making decisions based on our feelings, and your feelings change every day. You have to make decisions based on what Allah says and what Islam says and what's going to protect you from the fire and what's going to protect you from the torment of the grave. My grandfather talked about the grave so much, and he made it relevant to every choice and decision in life. He constantly reminded us that this is where we're going to end up, and we have no control over when we go there to the grave. He talked about the grave more than anything else he talked about, because he wanted us to be prepared for it. My grandfather lived his life in the masjid, and he didn't love anything more than the masjid. The only thing he loved more than the masjid was our religion, Islam. My grandfather loved Islam so much, and he loved the masjid so much. I only ever heard him talk about one dream that he had for this worldly life. The one dream that my grandfather would talk about that he had for this worldly life was for him to leave America and move to Africa. My grandfather wanted our whole family to move to Africa, all of his grandchildren. My husband and I moved to Gambia with our 8 children 9 months after my grandfather made Hijrah and passed away in Gambia. 3 months after I moved to Gambia with my family, my little sister Aisha moved to Gambia with her family. My sister Aisha, same mom, same dad, as the Gambians here say. She moved. So all of our children are currently living here. We're living here with our families here in Gambia. My sister Aisha and I are the oldest 2 grandchildren. And alhamdulillah, we're able to live out my grandfather's vision by raising his great-grandchildren here in Gambia, here in Africa. I'm so grateful for my grandfather's vision and his bravery. When he got sick, he had the choice between staying in America
and passing away amongst his loved ones, or living out his dream, moving to Africa without his family and being buried in the soil in Africa. My grandfather's only son, my uncle, my mother's brother, moved and made hijrah with my grandfather before he passed away. I tried so hard to move to Africa so that my grandfather could see my family move to Africa before he died. But I was still in America and I was pregnant with my youngest child, Selwa. I was pregnant with Selwa. And as soon as I gave birth to Selwa and was able to get her passport, my family moved. My grandfather has 12 great-grandchildren that are currently being raised in Africa. I'm so grateful to my grandfather for his vision that he had for our family. And I'm so grateful to my husband for moving our family here to Gambia. Our lives are full of very difficult decisions that we have to make, especially as mothers. But just know, while you're living your life in bravery, there's always someone who needs your strength. There's always someone who needs your inspiration, and you're always setting an example for someone else that whatever it is that they're setting out to do, it can be achieved. It's been 1 year since my husband and I moved to Gambia with our 8 children. I didn't have it all figured out, and I still don't. But I learned very quickly that it's easier being a mother and raising Muslim children here in Gambia, and my family has been healthier and happier than we've ever been before. Alhamdulillah.
May Allah forgive him all of his sins and grant him Firdaus al-A'la amongst those who love to do good. Ameen.